Breaking news. We have brand new court records. We just got them into our newsroom revealing a DOJ investigation into an alleged crime relating to bribery in exchange for a, quote, presidential pardon. I repeat, the Justice Department has been conducting what has been until today a sealed and secret investigation of a attempted bribery scheme for a presidential pardon. This is obviously big news. The documents detail, quote, a related bribery conspiracy scheme, and one of the offers, which is an element of bribery, would be, quote, a substantial political contribution in exchange for a, quote, presidential pardon. I will tell you as well, before I bring in our experts, there's much we don't yet know about this because of this kind of unsealed filing. What you're looking at here, and we just got this is brand new this hour, is a federal unsealed filing that still has a lot redacted. We'll get into the reasons why. But the parts that are not redacted, the parts I just quoted you from, are from other parts, the first few pages, that still have heavy redactions, but reveal that as of August, this was an investigation that had evidence of at least a scheme to try to use a bribe to secure a, quote, presidential level pardon. We are still making our way through it. I will say, in the interest of fairness, what is unsealed here and what we have does not, to my first reading, appear to speak to whether or not different people in the White House were aware and how high that went. Nick, when you see this kind of redacting, obviously reminds us more of like a CIA report than court. But what might be under here? What more might we learn about this if the government's successful in its case and gets more of this evidence?
Oh, I think you're going to learn who it was that was trying to do the bribe. You're going to learn who was facilitating the bribe. You're going to learn what their connection was in order to facilitate the bribe so it could actually happen. It had to be somebody, like I said, close to the president. It sounds like there was a lawyer involved because you're talking about attorney-client privilege. Any kind of attorney-client privilege does not apply to statements made in furtherance of a crime. Statements made in furtherance of a bribery scheme are not covered by the attorney-client privilege. So there is a
I'm told
lot of stuff
I'm only
there.
cutting in because I'm told I might lose the congressman. Our lawyers stay, but I turn back to Congressman Adam Schiff, chairman of the Intelligence Committee. Your reaction to this news, Congressman?
Well, most of the court order deals with the attorney-client issue. So plainly, there is a lawyer that is either making the claim or the court is proactively considering whether that attorney was acting as a lawyer. Or whether they were, in fact, acting as a criminal co-conspirator. And here the judge is concluding that they're not acting as a lawyer no matter what they're doing. So these communications are not protected, and therefore they can be disclosed and obtained. And so, I think the only thing we can glean so far from this order is that an attorney with a client was representing that client not in a legal way, but in attempting to through the use of bribery, secure a pardon. And I agree completely that itself would be a crime. If the president was involved, he would not be immune from prosecution for it. In fact, this is one of the things in our reform bill that we make quite explicit, but I think it is already or should be clear under existing law. And what they're redacting there is not being redacted because it's classified in the way we're used to seeing. It's being redacted because it would disclose the identity of the parties. It would disclose the communications that were part of the effort to secure a pardon through bribery. And the investigation is ongoing, and that would harm the ongoing investigation. But it is serious enough in this respect. It's not easy to take on attorney-client privilege. And here, if the Justice Department was willing to take on that issue, and the court is willing to rule on it, it means it's pretty serious business that they're investigating.
I showed the viewers what we have and don't have, and I do that in an abundance of caution because there's much yet to learn by definition. Having said that, what we do have and why this is undeniably already a blockbuster, even if we don't know how high the knowledge went in the White House, is the language which is here on page 2, and I want to read it again to you because it's a breaking story, Chairman, so I appreciate you doing the coverage with us. The reference to a bribery conspiracy scheme which would offer a, quote, substantial political contribution in exchange for a presidential pardon or reprieve. Now, with the caveat that I don't read this as yet defining who knew what in the White House, would you be concerned, Congressman, that if it's a bribery scheme and the president is the person who has to give the government benefit, the pardon or commutation, that reference to a, quote, substantial political contribution might reasonably only apply to a very few number of people, including potentially the person providing the pardon.
Well, someone in this conspiracy has to have a close enough relationship to the president or people around the president to make it happen. You're not going to pay a bribe to someone who has no relationship to the party that has the power to give the pardon. But people shouldn't presume, and there may be a tendency to leap to the conclusion that this may involve some of the personalities that have been very much in the news and who are worried about their criminal liability. It may be someone that we've never heard of.